Good evening, I'm Bret. Baier. Losing your job is hard. Finding out about it when you're in a war zone is something else altogether. Tonight, correspondent Leland Vitter tells us that is just what is happening, and there are more to come for America's heroes.
In combat, every second counts. Every ounce of energy is needed for staying alive. Fox News has learned that many soldiers currently and formerly serving on the front lines in Afghanistan were risking their lives while fearing for their jobs as part of the Pentagon plan to drastically reduce the size of the Army. These decisions were even delivered to officers while deployed, effectively firing them while in harm's way.
It puts the soldier's family, and the soldiers under his command at risk. It creates an environment, if you will, inside of a unit where young officers look at each other and they ask themselves, who's next?
Take Army Captain Luke Bouchatz, went to Afghanistan, survived, came home, only to face a layoff review board.
The Army is not just a career. It's not just a vocation for people who decide to stay in for a long time. It's a lifestyle. And to say, I'm sorry, we don't need you anymore, feels like it's unfair. It feels like betrayal.
The Army told Fox News 2,600 captains and other officers have or will be laid off. Bouchatz survived the cuts. Many of his friends did not and will not, as the Army goes from 520,000 soldiers to 450,000. Many of those combat veterans, some knowing they're under review and given pink slips while overseas.
When other people who are sitting on your right hand and your left hand start getting those pink slips, it feels like, well, maybe I am next.
In a similar move, the Army unceremoniously chopped thousands of young officers after the Vietnam War. Retired Major General Bob Scales lived through it.
It took decades, number one, for the individuals to recover, but most importantly for the Army to recover, because there was the sense in the early 70s of this broken covenant.
The Army now blames sequestration. Senator Jim Inhofe issued a statement saying, our military's readiness and warfighting capability are clearly not the priorities of this president.
Just take a look at the Middle East, and somebody please tell me that we won't need these men and women again pretty soon.
When asked about these cuts today, the Army said, quote, the Army's drawdown plan is a balanced approach that maintains readiness while trying to minimize turbulence within the officer corps. And this isn't the end of the cuts. There are more layoff review boards to come for soldiers overseas and here at home. Those let go face daunting statistics, an unemployment rate a full percentage above their peers. And as one observer told me today, Bret, now is not exactly the time one wants to be counting on the VA for anything.
Yeah. Leland, thank you, and welcome to Washington.
Good to be here.